There's areas that are quite thick and brushy. There's obstacles, there's wild animals.
As the search for Travis Decker intensifies, we learn just what it takes to survive in the backcountry.
Well, it was a hot one today, and over the next few days, expect that heat to build up. What we're tracking for your Monday in your full forecast.
The benefits that help those folks acquire and preserve those homes, those may be cut.
Plus, federal budget cuts may slash funding needed to preserve Spokane's historic buildings.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for KREM 2 News. I'm Amanda Rowley. The search continues for the man accused of murdering his 3 daughters in Chelan County. And just into our newsroom tonight, Governor Gov Ferguson announced he's mobilizing the Washington National Guard to help in the search. New court documents reveal Decker searched online how to move to Canada and for jobs in the country. He did this just days before vanishing with the 3 girls. On Monday, investigators found the girls dead near a campground west of Leavenworth. The manhunt for Decker now focuses on West Okanagan County and along the Pacific Crest Trail. Several popular hiking and camping areas, including the Enchantments, are now closed. And as the manhunt for Travis Decker pushes deeper into Washington's backcountry, questions are growing about how he may be staying alive. King 5's Bridget Chavez went to a wilderness survival expert to find out just how someone can keep going.
We came to Alderleaf Wilderness College in Monroe to see what's inside a basic survival kit and how someone could use it to survive in the wilderness for days.
Survival expert Jason Knight
So we have a first aid kit.
says having the gear is just one part of it.
Here's one of my favorite water filtration systems. It's basically, they call it a survival straw.
Staying alive depends on knowing how to use it.
I think every survival kit needs at least 2 ways of making fire. A couple other things. So navigation, so I always recommend bringing maps of the area you plan to be in, but regardless of where you go, a compass is key in understanding how to use it.
The search for Travis Decker, accused of killing his 3 young daughters, now stretches from the Enchantments to the North Cascades.
There's areas that are quite thick and brushy. There's obstacles, there's wild animals.
Decker's background as a former Army Ranger and skilled outdoorsman raises questions about how long he can survive in the wilderness.
Being with that, there's the military background. It's an even more complex layer of that.
Experts point to a guiding principle called the Rule of Threes.
You can survive, roughly 3 hours without a regulated body temperature before hypothermia can do you in, roughly 3 days without water before it becomes lethal, and roughly 3 weeks without food before starvation starts to become a problem.
Making it that long, even with training, isn't guaranteed.
There's the social isolation portion of it, the psychological aspect that can be difficult.
In terrain this vast and with skills like Decker's, survival is possible, but even for the most prepared, it gets harder with time.
Even the best survivalists struggle with getting enough of the right foods over the long term.
How long someone can last, that's the unanswered question.
Experts here say a survival kit like we just showed you can go a long way if you know how to use it. Tonight, that $20,000 reward for the arrest of Decker still stands. Again, if you see him, do not approach, call 911. In Monroe, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
All right, taking a look at weather now. It's looking to be one of the hottest weekends of the year so far. Meteorologist Cody Proctor is live outside with what to expect as temperatures continue to ramp up. Cody, you've lost the shades and now you're just out there in the beautiful summer air.
And let me just tell you, it is comfortable right now at this very moment. I had the pleasure of getting a chance to walk my dog earlier this evening where it was nice outside, not too hot, not too cool. Just right, that Goldilocks zone. But as we head into the weekend and in particular Monday, we do have a weather impact alert for you for Monday with temperatures expected to be in the mid-90s to low triple digits. We could potentially see some record highs. Now, when we could see that or when the most impact of that could be from noon to 9 p.m. on Monday. Again, looking at very hot temperatures for that day. So just remember to stay hydrated when we get conditions like this. And my own public safety announcement, Have some sunscreen with you. Already been sunburned once this season. I'm trying to avoid the next one. Right now, though, when we take a look at our current temperatures, we're at 74 degrees tonight with winds coming out of the southwest at about 10 miles per hour for us this evening. And around our region, we're still seeing those temperatures mostly in the 70s. Looks like though Sandpoint has been hanging out in the 50s. Now, as we head into tomorrow morning, expect to see those temperatures dropping down to the low 60s for your start for your Saturday morning. But it won't take long before those temperatures start to warm back up. Tomorrow, we're looking at those highs into the upper 80s with mostly sunny skies. Sunday could see us in the low 90s. And then take a look at Monday. Again, that's that weather impact alert day for you with temperatures in the mid 90s. The reason why we're looking at heat like this coming up in your full forecast.
All right, thank you, Cody. New tonight, a disturbing story is coming out of Pend Oreille County. The sheriff's office says one man is in custody after deputies found a woman chained against her will and another man dead on a nearby private property.
This unfolded last night on Fertile Valley Road after investigators say the Spokane County Sheriff's Office took a report that a woman was being held against her will and a dead man was buried on the property. Pend Oreille County deputies say they discovered just that when they arrived on scene. Deputies freed the woman and arrested 2 other people. 48-year-old John Rosen now faces a flurry of charges including murder, kidnapping, rape, and unlawful imprisonment. Deputies also charged a 28-year-old woman with making false or misleading statements. Not much else is known at this hour, including the condition of the woman and where exactly this happened. The Pend Oreille County Sheriff's Office says more details will be released as the investigation continues.
And tonight, the state office in charge of funding for historic homes and buildings across Washington state faces proposed budget cuts from the Trump administration. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy breaks down those cuts and how a Spokane-based nonprofit is fighting them.
The historic Cannon neighborhood on Spokane's South Hill is one of many across the Lilac City. It's also on Misty Hunter's radar. She's with the nonprofit Spokane Preservation Advocates. Their goal is to preserve historic areas across Spokane and Spokane County.
We believe in keeping Spokane accessible, sustainable, and beautiful.
It's her organization's beliefs she says she's holding on to now more than ever after President Donald Trump released his proposed 2026 fiscal year budget. Its biggest takeaway? Proposed cuts to the Historic Preservation Fund, or HFR, at roughly $150 million. Those federal dollars help preserve, restore, and in some cases, help rebuild historic buildings and homes. The National Conference of State Historic Preservation Officers report the last fiscal year amount in 2024 shows its funds at $188 million. This worries Hunter looking down the line, as a cut at $150 million risks losing the fund altogether, meaning funding for the State Preservation Office, a 20% historic tax credit, as well as tribal historic preservation offices could be on the chopping block.
The benefits that help those folks acquire and preserve those homes, those may be cut.
It's unclear how those funds will concretely look going forward into this year and next. Right now, NCSHPO reports in 2025, preservation offices haven't received any funds so far, despite being appropriated by Congress in March of this year. Miller says her organization is raising awareness of these proposed cuts, hoping to keep preserving historic areas of Spokane for years to come.
By taking the funding away from these beautiful spaces, we're losing what makes Spokane such a beautiful place to live.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
All right, don't go to bed just yet. More funding secured for Spokane's north-south corridor, an update on a project decades in the making. But first, more than 100 small earthquakes rattling central Idaho, what it may be a sign of in just 90 seconds.